Now let's try to move on to the next presentation, and I want to make sure that we have Dr. Suraweera's presentation. Take the next one. Ah, there she is. Risky jobs.
It's about risky jobs, occupational exposure to air pollution. Well, air pollution is a silent killer. Whether indoors or outdoors, we all are a prey to that. And certainly the workers are not exempted. 3 billion workers around the world, they are exposed to air pollution in different magnitudes, in outdoors as well as indoors. Well, why have to be concerned about air pollution at workplaces? We all know that work and health are very closely related. Work and work environment can make workers healthy as well as it can make them unhealthy. And on the other hand, we have to be healthy, the workers have to be healthy to do a good job. So, air pollution at workplaces can certainly affect the health of workers. And why is health of workers important? Workers are the productive age group people. They build up the economies, and certainly when they fall ill, it's going to be very costly. Not only that, they are the breadwinners of families. So therefore, if they fall ill, that is going to affect individuals themselves, the workers, the employers, the families, communities, and countries as a whole. When it comes to outdoor air pollution, we know that around 1.2 billion workers worldwide work outdoors most of the time. In particular, those who are working in agriculture, construction, transport, street vendors, street sweepers, traffic police officers, etc. And all these workers, they are vulnerable to the exposures of outdoor air pollution. Agricultural workers, construction workers, traffic police officers, street sweepers. So why is it important? Now, most of these workers who work outdoors, they belong to the informal economy, especially the agricultural workers, and this is definitely true in low and middle income countries, especially the developing world. For example, in Sri Lanka, around 60% of the workers, they work in the informal sector. And out of this informal sector, around 80%, they work in the agricultural sector. And considerable numbers of female workers. And we know that informal workers, they are socio-economically deprived and therefore more chances of having household air pollution as well. And they don't have enough occupational health services, maybe minimum occupational health services. And most of the developing countries, there is traffic congestion, so therefore the outdoor workers, they tend to be more in danger. More construction, more workers getting exposed to outdoor air pollution. And certainly these workers, they perform vigorous physical activity, so they inhale more pollutants. And on the other hand, legislation related to air pollution control is not satisfactory in most of the developing countries. Air pollution control is not stringent. Therefore, the outdoor workers, they are at a higher risk of developing adverse health outcomes due to exposure to air pollution. More exposure since they work. They spend a lot of time at work, and then we have been hearing about all these health effects since morning. But do we know the real burden of outdoor occupational exposures and the disease burden among workers? I suppose we need to do more research because we don't have enough research on occupational exposure to especially outdoor air pollution. Let us briefly look at indoor air pollution. Still, it's a major problem, not only the chemicals, but biological pollutants as well. Now, these occupational exposures, sometimes they are carcinogens, pathogens, fumes, smoke, dust, and fibers at the workplace. They kill every year almost 1 million workers, according to some other statistics. These are some other workers, garment workers especially. They are exposed to chemicals as well as biological agents. However, we have effective control measures. But can we be satisfied with indoor air quality in most other workplaces around the world? Again, I would like to draw your attention to costs of health effects due to air pollution, whether indoors or outdoors. Health costs. Because most of these are chronic diseases, so therefore we have to spend a lot of money on improving their health. And especially, as I told you, these are the productive age group people. So what about the economic costs? Can they stop work because their work environment, their air is not clean? No, they have to work. Why? Because they are the breadwinners of the families. They have to feed their kids. And of course, can you cost the suffering of ill health? Well, we had a pre-conference roundtable yesterday, and then with my other colleagues, I would like to mention some of the key messages that we want to bring in. We need more research on occupational exposure to air pollution, and that is going to help generate evidence to better facilitate making policy decisions. We need to strengthen the provision of occupational health services to workers working outdoors as well as indoors. I suppose we need to think about their health, and then we need to provide occupational health services. Legislation needs to be strengthened to control occupational exposure to air pollution among workers in all occupations, especially to cover outdoor occupational exposures as well. And we have cost-effective control measures, so I suppose we should start implementing these things to protect the health of workers. We have simple interventions and we have hope, but certainly all stakeholders have to get together. The governments, employers, workers, UN agencies, everyone has a part. No one solely or singularly can make this happen. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we have Xavier Carroll, who will talk to us about desert dust.